Hello and welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. Shabaike shagotum janachi. This is your host, Coach Kamrul Hasan. Apra shabai janen, as you know, that I'm the founder of CKH network. Amader mission. The mission we are working for, that is educate, empower, and enlighten the youths of Bangladesh, because we believe to the youth, and youth is the power. Youth is the driving force for tomorrow's Bangladesh, and 70% of the population coming from youth segment. So as a matter of fact, we do not have simply any alternative than that of helping our youths to be developed in a global scale so that they can represent Bangladesh globally. And we believe in the next 10 years is the time to do so, because in order to take the dividend from the demography, that is the youths, so we must act in the next 10 years for the development of our country's youth. And that's why we are working to develop our youths and young professionals, and where we are working in two segments. One is employable skills, and the second is to bring their entrepreneurial mindset. We want to give them the necessary skill sets into these two aspects with values, ethics, and integrities, so that whatever they do and whatever they create and wherever they go, they represent the ethics, values with integrity, and thus they can uphold the flag of our nation. That's the entire value chain that we have been creating. It's me, I'm coming from 20 years of working experience, and I'm delighted to introduce you today three guests tonight for your kind consideration. And please help me to welcome our country's one of the renowned professor who has introduced the Bachelor in Business Administration, Bachelor of Business Administration, which is BBA, into IBA. Professor Dr. Anwar Hossain, he is currently the Vice-Chancellor of the Northern University of Bangladesh. So please help me to welcome the Honorable Vice-Chancellor with us tonight. Welcome, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Wa alaikum salam, and greetings to the viewers from the Northern University.
Thank you. We are looking forward very much to the program tonight, and also let us introduce and bring to the screen, to the online space in the studio, that is from Netherlands, the founder of Jump Movement, Ineke Hoekmans. Many of us knows already Ineke Hoekmans, our students and community. So Ineke Hoekmans from Netherlands, the founder of Jump Movement.
Assalamualaikum, namaskar, good evening, everybody, and I'm privileged to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, and good evening to everyone. Okay, thank you. And also, we have another guest tonight, that is Mr. Monarul Islam Rebel, Additional Director at World Marketing Summit, Kotler Hours, Bangladesh 2020, who is also taking care of student affairs of Northern University of Bangladesh, Mr. Monarul Islam Rebel.
Hello. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. So what we want to do tonight is, as a background, that recently we have signed an memorandum of understanding with Northern University of Bangladesh in two aspects. One is actually how we can collaborate between us, how we can co-create programs for the students of Northern University of Bangladesh, bachelor, masters, and the professionals, bringing our international resources and expertise from different parts of the world. And that's one of the reasons tonight we are actually speaking with Ineke Hoekmans and, of course, our Honorable Vice-Chancellor. Sir, you have been created a magnificent impact towards the nation's youth development. I would say youth development, because you have introduced for the youth the BBA program, which has become the #1 breakthrough program, #1 hot topic, hot cake, and thus all the universities has started the same program. So how do you feel today being an initiator of BBA program in the country's flagship university, IBA?
Well, definitely for introducing this program in this country, especially in Bangladesh. Back in 1987, when I designed the curriculum and every other things for the program, we started to launch it in IBA. but because of certain procedural lapses in the university, we had to delay the program, and until 1992, we could not launch the program fully. And initially, when we were about to introduce the program, there were about 5,000 applicants for only 40 seats in IBA. And that proves the amount and extent of demand for the program. And later on, when we actually launched the program, most of the other universities, private and public, they also introduced this program. And it has become the most sought after, highly sought after program throughout Bangladesh. And even now, business school is one of the top school for the most of the universities. You see, I feel really very much proud for that. And also, I would like to thank my colleagues, especially Dr. Alimullah Mia, who was the director of IBA at that time, and my other colleagues who helped me to launch that program. And in IBA was set up in 1966, and that school, business school, was the pioneer school in Bangladesh, especially in the Middle East, Pakistan, and it had been prestigious MBA program for a long period. But what happened? Most of the students who came to the MBA program were coming from the graduation, and no undergrad students, young students were not there. And that's why we had to go down to recruit the HSC graduate students who passed the HSC and then came to the university level. So that is the place where you can get really good students, quality students. And that was the reason we went for that. Then this 4 years of professional grounding on business created one of the top brass of executives in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh now, hundreds of general managers, hundreds of CEOs are graduates from IBA, especially BBA and MBA. So this is something really big pride. Definitely, these students have very good training for them, through which they have to be able to be successful in life.
Okay.
So I think my camera, I don't know if you can hear me. My camera, I think somewhat my camera is not connecting, but I will try to show. In the meantime, Ineka, you can talk with our Honorable Vice-Chancellor, sir, as well. And what I want to actually initiate the discussion, and then I'll be coming back. So with the collaboration with Northern University of Bangladesh, bringing Ineke's experience from all over the world, which is the jump open methodologies, how it could help the universities and students and professionals, and also bringing the university into the different dimension. If you can talk about it, meanwhile I'll be back with the video. I'll fix it.
Thank you, Kamrul Bhai. We can hear you, so that's fine. I would love to ask a question to Professor Anwar, if you are okay with that.
Sure.
So if we look at professional skills that you teach students in the universities of all kinds of curricula that you are offering to students, I always define two different layers of education. That's like professional skills and the soft skill level. We talked a little bit about it just in the intro behind the scenes. What could be, I would like to ask you a question. What could be for the students in this time the number one challenge in the soft skill area? How would you define that?
I think the basic skill is the language skill. Communicating in English or Bengali, whatever language you're talking about. This is a skill which they proverbially lack. Another issue is how to keep their composure and ability to talk fluently during an interview. That's very important.
And
they are not confident enough to answer some of the critical questions they are posed. That's it.
So, actually, you already addressed one of the core reasons why maybe students have issues with that, and you say they're not confident enough to talk fluently. Of course, when you get older, we are a certain generation, and we have been, around. I can relate to my time when I was 17, 18. I also was more shy than I am now. So we need, experience in life to build up confidence and trust. But I think, what can universities do to help train that level? How can we train or give students more practice and experience to start, making mistakes in that area? Because that's the thing we learn from when we make mistakes.
You see, apart from that, in MBA and BBA program, there's a built-in aspect in the program where a student has to take internship for 1 full semester, where to work in a real corporate house or business house and solve a particular problem or issue in the real life situation.
Yeah.
And they're ready to go with when ultimately they can. This is a very important, and we religiously follow this internship program at IBA, and that's why the students are always, much more mature, and they are industry ready from a very early of their age. And if we are talking about this being conversant with speaking power, especially in a one-to-one interview with a panel of judges or panel of persons or experts who are asking questions in the business situation, interview situation, they will give some kind of practice. And if you can have some mock trial or some mock interviews in the campus situation for the graduate,
I cannot really hear your audio really good. How is that for the other panel members? Can we hear the audio good of Professor Anwar?
Right. The audio, sir, it kind of breaking up.
Is it now okay? Hello?
Sir, it's
I
okay.
think this is much better.
This is much better. Right. This is much better.
Right, Professor.
So that's what I was saying, that if you can have some kind of mock interview, and we try to do it. We often do it for these students, especially in the senior level who will be graduating soon. For them, we try to give them some preparation, 1 or 2 days workshop for getting ready, and also invite the guest speakers from the industry so that they can talk to them and get them ready.
Okay. Very good. I think we do the same here. We have internship, we have mentorships, and then people just have to, start doing it and experience what they have to learn in practice and in real life. That's the thing. I noticed that for a lot of teams in universities, like lecturer teams or professors teams, also the same topic still applies, and it's called communication. So communication is maybe lifelong learning, to keep connecting in communication. That's very important. One of the things that I encounter all the time is that people not really listen to each other or not give each other time. And then, of course, you don't come across with your point. Yeah.
Correct. Ineke, so you have been all over the Europe, Africa, and you traveled to India recently and also in Bangladesh. So you know our students, I think, by now very well. You have trained 25 students over 2 days, and the next 3 months of coaching, and then hundreds and hundreds of students have gone through your program in Bangladesh. So how would you like to assess the Bangladeshi students when you see, from different continents? So what is your remarks and thoughts into that?
The students are so polite. They're so polite. I mean, they're very respectful. In my country, sometimes students are not that respectful. We are actually more liberated, I think. But I love this kind of respect that people have for, someone who's teaching. And I encountered so much respect and so much, politeness. And I like that a lot. And there's a willingness in learning and openness to hear new perspectives on topics like, how to manage a team without remote controlling them, without pushing them, but with giving more space and more trust. And I saw the students be really, really open for that. And I built really cool relationships with some of the students here. I think they're so talented and so eager to contribute to the economy of Bangladesh and to the corporate world. They're like eager to go out there. So I think what we encounter here in the Netherlands with students lots of times is that they have a hard time choosing what they want to be. So they start study, do the next one, there's this very stressful or topic of what do I choose, what is my study and what would be my future. And in countries like Bangladesh, this range of choices is not that wide. I mean, you just have to start getting a job, have a level and a degree and then start working. And I personally like that because I studied creative educational work at bachelor and post-bachelor degree. And I did so many different things. I went into management, I was in boards, and now I have been an entrepreneur for 20 years. You cannot study for that. You just have to start. If you have a certain degree of education, which is good because your brain is working, then you can, apply it to whatever job. And I like the mentality of the Bangladeshi people. Just, let's move, let's work, let's do it. I like that a lot.
Right.
And, open.
Brilliant.
And very, very nice.
Brilliant. So I'm coming back to our honorable Vice-Chancellor.
As a last comment, not too nice to my own people, but we're a little bit spoiled. We're a little bit spoiled here, I think.
Okay. So coming back to honorable Vice-Chancellor, sir. So you have been teaching decades, I think
5
many
decades.
So 5 decades, exactly. So you have seen like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and you have seen now the exploration and explosions of youths into the universities, into the education. So what is the major difference that you notice 3 decades back to now among the youths in terms of learning and development and education system as a whole?
Well, as things changes, as you say, nothing is constant. Everything is changing, and definitely in the 60s and the 50s, or what was there is not in the 70s. So I started teaching from 1971, 2, and at that time, because Bangladesh came out from the liberation war, the freedom struggle, where millions of people died or laid down their lives, and we got our independence by the leadership of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, father of the nation. So at that time, the universities were in a very precarious situation because most of the facilities for the students were not there, but these were built gradually. And even at that time, when after this 1975, when uh, the father of the nation was brutally killed by the people who are conspirators. And then what happened? There was always instability in the government. And at that time, you had a lot of political turmoils, and the university classes could not be held properly because of many other reasons. But gradually, in IBA, we tried to continue with our education system, even because of the semester system, by the support of the faculty members. And that's why when there was a kind of, session jam in public universities, IBA still continued to work, and graduates were turned out every year systematically. And then the 1902, the private university concept came up, the act was there, and the private university sprang up because there was a huge demand for education, especially for the undergrad level. And most of the students, those who could not find placement in the absence of private universities, and the private public university has limited seats, they used to go to different countries, foreign, India, America, England, Australia, all others. They used to migrate. So a lot of migration of the students to other countries. When the private universities came, this process of migration was stopped, and to a great extent. And the quality of the students, if you say in every setup, every decade, there are bright students, there are average students, there are dull students, especially compared to the competition that you were talking about. But this depends on the primary and secondary education that they have. This is not their fault. Because of the socio-economic ladder, somebody coming not from an affluent society cannot get right education, special coaching, and that's why their performance become poor. And the another problem with the students coming from the rural background is their lack of assertiveness, because they, as you have mentioned, they are polite. That is okay, but too much politeness means you are lacking your assertiveness, which is going to be not a very positive thing for you in the career goal and career aspect. So that you have to emphasize on that. But the issue is the technology is taking place now, and we call them 3am generation. Now the student generation, they keep themselves awake throughout the night, and they are techno savvy. They use the mobile, and they do not concentrate and attend the classes, and that has happened to a great extent.
Yeah.
And another point is they now have so many sources to get education. So they don't rely on the teachers, on the class teaching only. They have the Google, they have the internet, they have all kinds of sources for them, and they are much more, I would say, in a kind of more knowledgeable compared to the previous level students. That is smart, and they are smarter. And I always like to see my student challenging my knowledge, because when the students excel from the teachers, that is the best part of the teacher, that you could create and you generate students who now take over beyond you. For every Plato, there was an Aristotle. For every Aristotle, there was another disciple who excelled more than him. So you expect that to happen, so that the knowledge will have a eternal and infinite search for the betterment. Because I always keep telling my students, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. So go on improving your performance, go on improving your excellence.
True.
Very well very well said. The biggest room of the world is the improvement room. This is also often I also keep on saying to the student, and you also rightly pointed out the assertiveness among the student, and thus I was curious. The basic purpose of education was the holistic well-being, was also to bring the fullest potential from any human being to live his life fully, and also to contribute to the society and the world to make a better place, and while living. So in the last 50, 60, 50, 60 years, in your views and in your eyes, where do you see this holistic approach and the ultimate purpose of education? Is it deviated a bit, or where it has been going now? What do you see, sir?
You see, what you are saying, is the overall changes in the society that is taking place. In the process of evolution, a lot of things changes, and our value system is also changing and eroding. And definitely, there was a time when you find even in India, in this subcontinent, at the beginning, the teacher and the tutor used to live together to understand and to get the knowledge. A student had to go to the house of the teacher and stay with him to learn a skill, whatever skill it is called. And that has changed when the education system was taken over by the schools, colleges, and universities. So we see a kind of detachment. Similar thing also happened in the working situation. In the guild system of production, in the cottage system of production, it was the family-based productive unit that worked. But gradually, when industrial revolution came, and gradually the job was eliminated from the family situation, the workers had to go out in the factory to work and then come back to their family level. So there was a kind of segregation, the gender discrimination, and also differences between the people and the family and the society and industry. And now I think, thank God for COVID, again the people have gone back to their family level home to work from them, working from home. That should be the future scenario when technology will take over so much so that it will be very easy to work from your home. And this is what is coming. The knowledge work, the information revolution, the 4G industrial revolution will ultimately achieve that goal. And people will have the comfort of their home and work from there. And that is going to be the reality because the society moves in a pendulum. It goes to one swing, one, and then another, and then again comes back.
Yes.
Now,
Yeah.
the issue is that the students definitely, if you look into their kind of attitude, they are now so much, what I would say, frivolous in their mind. They cannot keep their interest and concentration in one aspect issue for long.
Yeah.
So after a few minutes, they got lose their
Right.
interest. Even if you are not dramatically teaching, if you are not a very good teacher, very good orator, very good speaker, they simply will not bother about. They will go back to their mobile in the
Yes,
class.
they're the Z generation, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you have to really entertain them,
Fraction.
huh? In your college.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
And
the
that's why
same, the
we
same
talk about the
very
keeping them engaged in a work situation, especially when you have a group works, when you have case workshop, where it is a team that has to perform. Only then they get a lot of interest in working. So learning has to be dramatized. Learning has to be work-centered, standalone, so that
Yeah.
you can get more benefit out of it and also understand.
Yeah, and I think so also if students can experience what they learn, so
Yeah.
then the learning, the deepness of learning is also more profound.
Yeah, only then. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's very frivolous because we keep telling that when you are listening, you just remember for 10 minutes, then you forget 90% of that. But
True.
when you work, you understand. And that's why in the business school, we give more emphasis on case study, we give more emphasis on workshop, we give more emphasis on group exercise,
Yeah.
and all kinds of activities.
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, sir. That was thought-provoking indeed. What we see today, education has evolved towards the number-oriented, the GPA-oriented rather, right? From the very fundamental level, from the level 5 to 10th grade, 12th grade, and the university. All is number, and everyone is actually pushing for the number. The family pushing the number, the teacher pushing the number, the societal system pushing the number, right? So this is the number, this is the GPA, and thereby what I see, the experiential learning is missing, application of the learning is missing, the holistic life view is missing, and as a result, our education, do you think, sir, and the education curriculum hasn't been evolved as such as the need for life in terms of practical ability and applications aspect, curriculum wise?
Sure. We have to revise the curriculum and make it more activity based and also make it
Sir, my
really.
question to you is like the where everything is moving forward, and then the curriculum of our university and the other education system. So, do you think is it befitting for today, or it needs to be evolved to be fitting with the industry and culture?
So the issue is that right now we are talking about outcome-based education. When you have a particular goal in mind, strategic education, outcome-based education, you design all your curriculum starting from the class course outline and day-to-day lesson plan and related to the national goals, then to the university goals, and then you relate to the department or faculty goals, and then you relate to the issue involved. Because only then you will really get the
Right.
understanding.
So I think some of the
So
voice, I think in
then the
terms of internet, maybe some issue from Honorable Vice-Chancellor's voice. I couldn't hear properly. So coming back to Ineke, so let's talk about what is the European standard. You are into the European Union, right? How is your education system evolving over the past 30 years?
Oh, it's a dramatic actually. We are still our educational system is still based on the principles of 50 years ago. So we are desperately looking at, reconstructing the whole educational system. And I know, because working with Rotterdam Business School on that topic, it's very hard. It's like you have this mammoth, this big tanker on the ocean, and if you want to just let it like 2 degrees more to this side, this is such a big, machine of it implies everything. So if you want to reform the educational system, it's very, very difficult. So what we are doing in the Netherlands and in Europe in general, but I think Netherlands is ahead of some of the other European countries. I think Scandinavian countries are more radically evolving their system, but they are like smaller population-wise. Like what we are trying to do is to get aspects of experiential learning in, of more like connection to the industry in. So we see that a lot of lecturers are actually business owners. And that's, I think, very cool, because then you bring in the stories of real life next to the thing that people have to study. You have to have your level of, curricula, you have to have it in. But it's very difficult, as we notice, to reform the educational system, because it's like based on 50 years of, procedures and very, very, also legally bounded, structures around how do you get your degree, what do you have to apply for, etc., etc. So we can just, tweak little things. The smaller universities like Business School, Rotterdam Business School is not the biggest. They have like changed their curricula from like vertical standpoints. So they had like the business school was vertically ordered, and now they put in a baseline that all students have the same education, and then from there and from the experience that people have, people can just, like a menu, start pulling out more education that they want to have applicable for their need. So I think that is one of the things we are looking at here, is that you, as Professor already said, this generation has a short span of, a focus, because they are so used of very fast learning. I mean, I have grandchildren. I don't know. You might also have my grandchildren. They are so fast with these machines.
I was like the same.
My grandson.
5 grandchildren.
I mean, my grandson, he is 7, the youngest one, and he's like, "Oh, Grandma, I will teach you how to work this." And I'm not, I'm skilled technically, but these kids are so fast. So there's another DNA coming. This is evolution that's in the DNA coming. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to bring in more fast track and shorter, not too boring and long lessons, or we have to vary a lot and bring in the tech, because if you bring in the tech, game-based learning, experiential learning, and let them do it themselves, I think that is something we are trying to do also here in the Netherlands. But still, we are based on a structure of 50 years, developed 50 years ago. And I think universities change more fast than primary schools, for example. So the whole educational system, we are trying to tweak it towards 21st century, but it's really hard. It's really hard. I think you can relate to that, right, Professor?
Yes, of course. This is really. But I have another view. I don't know. This could be a theory in future as well. Maybe we'll not require any process of learning.
Right.
Because,
Thank you.
just
so
like
coming back to Professor Dr. Anwar Hossain,
we can interject, say, what do they call this isotope in the brain, and set up the memory, in the memory, all the knowledge that you want to impose on that. Now that you're controlling like, brain, everything, brain function. You know more about brain function, neurology. So maybe that is a possibility. If you can
And
have artificial intelligence, why not create artificial intelligence in human mind? That will be much better because reception will be there.
I love
Organic.
the idea. So I love the idea. So what would we use the time for then? The time that is left. What would be then the most important thing to learn? What do you think? To relax.
Relax. Then you can have all the free time in your life.
Right.
You can become a doctor, engineer. All these skills will be implanted through an electrode in your
I
brain.
think
implanted in your brain.
you are radical. You are radical.
And I see that.
Then
I
actually
see
the life, then people can enjoy the life, right? The
I like
time
it.
the life
is
is free to
there.
enjoy.
So
And
in
what we call
connection to
heaven,
that,
heaven in religion, they talk about heaven. So
Yes.
heaven will emerge.
Wow, it's utopia. I think students will also like it.
Sure. They will get
right? So
rid of the
this
teachers.
is
They
actually
will
this is
get rid
actually
of
the
the boring
reality.
teachers like us.
Yeah.
Sir, in connection to this this thought and philosophy, and also the earlier you said the attention span of our youths is so tiny because of this social distraction. And now, as you said, because of the artificial intelligence, we are going to have a lots of information. And do we need the 4 years, 5 years, 6 years degree to
No
get
formal
ready
program
and
is
prepared for
required.
a job, or we need now shorter version of education to get ready a job?
Now the modular approach has to be there, right?
Yes.
So how
Or
university
small-
can address to this
Ah,
practical need of
That university will have to learn, otherwise they will be totally, outdated.
I would like to add something. I'm inspired by what you say, Professor, because I like to add, why not create
out of
a lifelong learning university? So not, be student up to your 25th, but stay student up till when you're 75, and create the modules that you need for this moment in your life. I think we need to make a university of life. I think we need to create that.
Yeah, that's
You are.
perfectly right. I think why not? I think that the students are there as a certain age limit, but the process of learning has no end. There's no age limit for learning, for education and for degree. So it happens in Bangladesh. The school final exam is being attended by the grandson and the grandfather, or the grandson and the grandmother. It happens same time. But university can think of the adult education in a different way, and definitely they need a special treatment for that. Otherwise, it will be difficult to handle them. You know about the Paulo Freire's consciousness theory, where he talked about, the Brazilian monk, Paulo Freire. He
Yeah.
came up with idea of, experiential learning that you were talking about. So
Yes.
that's pretty much applicable for adult learning. They learn through picture, they learn through, activity based, they learn from each other, that kind of learning. If you can make that, and university should go also for that, because there's no point in keeping your customers segmented only to one age group. Why not diversify? In that case, you can also increase your horizon. Demand side can be increased, and you have to come up with adequate supply of learning materials for the adult people, especially who are beyond 60, 70, or 80, but still has an arts to learn and to get their degrees. Why not?
Very cool. I love the idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm still learning. I'm learning Bangla at this moment. I'm doing Bangla.
Not
Yeah.
end to end, Bangla is a very exciting language, very interesting
It
language.
is.
Poetic language. It's a poetic language.
I love it so much.
absolutely, sir. If you see, sir, today, let's say for a banking
There's a
job,
lot of beauty, rhythm in it.
absolutely.
Now, what I like from CKH is that they are emphasizing on two issues.
Sir,
Especially
if you see the job sector in
Yeah,
if you see the job sector in Bangladesh or all over the
Like
world,
that.
let's say banking or the
pardon?
I think, Kamrul, you are slow.
thank you, sir. Because what we see today, sir, all the jobs, if we analyze the job, so this is like the banking job or the other industry job, service industry job, it does not need to have the master's degree or 4 years bachelor degree either. A bit of understanding, common sense, and application towards the customer orientation and customer centricity, and how to solve the problem within the shortest possible time, and having the empathy, having the understanding of what the other person is looking forward. So this is kind of
banking is going to be handled by the artificial intelligence very soon. So you cannot have much of the jobs available in the banking sector because this is very routine and very much, easy to learn. But the issue is that investment analysis, where you need the human brain, the power of speculation, power of reading the future, there you need expertise and other issues. Most of the routine works is going in within a decade, I believe, simply will not be there. This will be taken over by artificial intelligence, robotics, and other issues. But
Yeah.
you need to have more for entertainment, more for all kinds of analysis and judgment and decision making. Their human touch has to be there, and that will be thriving. And also for teaching, definitely.
Right.
You have
Thank you.
machines
Yeah,
there.
that is the point. I'm actually having the power cut, so I'm into the dark, but would continue.
But you are
So
very
that
much
is the
audible.
reason actually.
Loud and clear.
Right. So thank you. So, sir, where we want to go is how can we make our student job ready, rather than waiting 4 year, 5 years, 6 year, because our economy needs to evolve, need to move fast. So, what could be done on your on your eyes? How to make them actually getting job ready once they come out from the 12th grade? So, what it takes to them?
The issue is the 4 years elaborate teaching program will not be required in future because
Correct.
the issue is there now. As you said, they are in a hurry and we have to hurry, and there are a lot of issues that we are talking about now which can be easily assimilated in a modular approach and given down to the students. And if they can become skill in a particular specific issues, rather than going into intellectually on discourse, that is not necessary. The theory building and other issues, practical handling of the challenges and the enterprise demands will have to be. And mostly it will be in the marketing and selling that you will have more jobs available, because that is the frontier which is expanding globally everywhere, and especially in the online selling and the
Correct.
digital marketing, then cryptocurrency,
Hmm.
then all other new techniques are coming up where you
Yeah.
need to focus on. If you can change your syllabus and curriculum and provide some modular courses in these areas, more students will come to flock there and get their certificates. And uh, universities will have to take a leadership in that aspect also. Otherwise, it will be difficult for them to face the challenge.
How is your relationship with the corporate life
Correct. Yeah.
a university? Can you elaborate on that?
Definitely, we are very much, especially from the business school's point of view, corporate life is the lifeblood for you, because you have to create
Absolutely.
the
So that would
curriculum,
make
advice and suggestion from the
them
corporate
rather
corporate
job
life.
ready. So
You have
coming
to
back to
ask them to become
in a
a guest
you
speaker.
see the
You have to
European
also,
education
go
system.
for internship for their cooperation and support.
Correct.
All kinds of issues. It is corporate,
The supply
and we
chain,
also aspire to
right? So,
prepare our graduate corporate ready on the
so
very
for an
first day of.
example, what we have experienced and experiencing now into this COVID.
Yes, please. You lost your audibility. Your
Hello?
visibility is there, but audio is not there.
We are having a little mismatch, huh?
No, it's all right, but this is the technological hazard. Uh, you know,
Yeah, there's a power cut in Dhaka, I think.
uh, could be there could be something, but his
So,
power not
Kamrul, are you there?
sound system. I think he has got some problem with his earphone.
Kamrul, are you there? Can you
That
hear us?
also- We lost our pilot. Everyone talk each other.
We don't have a pilot. Oh, help.
Now we can continue with
Oh,
our.
he's gone. Now we can have, we're on our own.
So you had been mentioning about the curriculum changes in Netherlands
right.
and ahead of the other European
So
countries.
in a case, so how you
also signed
you
the
think-
Washington Accord, the University in Netherlands. They have signed the Washington Accord, where you have certain of the Bologna Agreement in education.
I don't know. I don't know if they signed it.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
That is a compatibility with the Bologna Agreement. Most of the universities in our country, our University Grants Commission is also instructing us to follow the outcome-based education system and all others, and for which we'll get accreditation, because university accreditation is very much required. Otherwise, you cannot understand the quality of the education they are providing to these.
See, that is one of the things actually that the system creates as an obstacle is the accreditation levels that you need to have. And then the numbers of students. It's like a business that you're running, being a university, which makes it more difficult for the students. Because if you could lose that accreditation and get more connected to what the corporate world needs, you could collaborate and maybe get funding from corporates. See, if there's a big corporate needing new talent and they would, collaborate with universities and pay universities for good talent, skilled talent, that could also work, huh?
Yeah, definitely. It can be university and corporate can also team up together to run joint program, and also, a lot of exchange of ideas can take place among them, and university can support the training program for the corporates, and the corporates can also run some of the classes, and if the corporates are agreeing, I can give the banking course to the corporate event, a specific bank. You run this course for one semester for us, because then you are getting the most practical knowledge for the students.
Well, that's actually one of the bigger goals that we have collaborating with CKH Network in the HPGC program, the high professional graduate program, where we want to high potential graduates, sorry. And then that's where we meet university level and corporate life, because then the demand of what corporate life needs gets to fit more into what on the soft skill level is, taught in university. So I'm really excited to collaborate with this one.
Yeah, that will be very interesting, because the matching will be there, and the compatibility will be there, and it will have a synergistic effect on the outcome of these graduates.
Yeah, because like what Kamrul now already is doing is that he is creating internship places with corporates of students that went through the program of the high potential program. And that is so good, because students can start from, of course, the universal level that they have, combined with the soft skills. And we work with the Wadhwani Foundation for the whole soft skill program. Jump Movement is adding there. And then you have a very cool basics for the demand for corporate life. And, I think that's very cool to collaborate together.
We have signed an MOU with them. They are already with us. They are working for us.
It's amazing. This is such an amazing foundation also, huh? So I think in 5 years, I think it would be great if we talk again in 5 years or maybe in 3 and see what has happened, right? Shall we do that?
Yeah, a lot of things we will see.
Let's do that.
Maybe some we possibly could not predict will happen, especially in the Bangladesh context. A lot of the whole demography is that he has already mentioned 70% youth. So a large number of students, they are really ready for higher education. But there are for that they have to go abroad, or they have to remain uneducated in that particular aspect. So we need to come up with really good program for the young people so that they can build their career. And that's why you are now emphasizing on entrepreneurship, because our motto is that the students and the graduates should become entrepreneur, not job seeker, but job giver. If
Right.
we can prepare students like that, then there is no need. There are a lot of areas where a student can have entrepreneurship drive, especially in the agriculture sector. Bangladesh is a heaven for agribusiness, and it is one of our mainstay. And a lot of entrepreneurs are now coming up. Young people, educated people. Even during this COVID, many university students went back to their rural villages and they have set up a startup, and it's working very fine, especially in the
Exactly.
agriculture sector, in fishing, in agriculture, a lot of forestry. There are
Yeah.
huge potential for entrepreneurship drive. So we are trying to develop this skill, and I think CKH can help us in that, or Jumpstart, you can also help us in that aspect.
Right. So that is our whole objective, to give the orientation, the student, the orientation and market accessibility. We all talk about the access to finance, access to information, but how can we create our student access to market while they are coming for education, real life, practical oriented? That's what we want to create through the applications, learning and experiencing it. As you said, the experiential learning methodology. So we are only consuming the information, but not experiencing for ourselves. How can the learning would be embedded within us without, if we do not experience it and learn it and
The
apply
issue
it?
that if the university could have access to endowment funds, if the universities could have a kind of collaboration with the banking sector, then you can possibly finance some of the venture capital, build a venture capital for the startups, especially by the educated youths. Then you can possibly generate a lot of business houses in this country. That is a possibility, and the government policy will have to be also accommodating that. That has to be taken care of. Some support from the policy level, from the banking sector, from other sectors, and also universities will have to come up with that. Only then you can generate
Right.
more entrepreneurs in this country than you are really having as of now. And this is another
Correct.
area
I
where
think
definitely need some program.
every sector has a role to play. Even the parents
Definitely, all the
has a role to
stakeholders, all the
play.
stakeholders
The
have to come.
now what
And
is happening, sir? What I observe, what I notice is a pillow passing.
if there is a more emphasis on the entrepreneurship,
And
and if
job rate.
people can get some financial support, definitely they can stand on their own. And business counseling will be another area where the soft skill is also necessary. Business counseling, how to
Absolutely.
set up a business plan, how to maintain your accounts, how to make your product bankable, how to project bankable, how to decide on the investment analysis, how to decide on the ROI, return on investment, or break even analysis. These skills are there, and you have to learn those to apply in your practical work situation.
Absolutely. So I was thinking, like, in a case, so as you so sir, coming back to you shortly again. So in a case, as you are teaching with also the other universities in Europe, right? Rotterdam Business School and other schools. So what if the students, those who are graduating, let's say for an example, Northern University of Bangladesh, if they go through your curriculum, let's say maybe 30 hours program, something like that, maybe 20 hours of the program, dealing with life and practical ability, do you think that their viewpoints, their mindsets, their attitude would create and enhance more of job ready? And how can you help on that?
Yeah, definitely. Because one of the things that I notice in young people in general, and of course in the people in Bangladesh, is the shyness and the politeness.
Yeah.
And that prevents them from, you have to look inside for answers for yourself. And there are so many challenges in life. And I know that young people tend to just wait a little bit. The bold ones, they get there, but I think majority, 85 to 90%, is like waiting a little bit until people tell them what to do. And I would really like to empower young people to go inside and to be bolder and to get more confidence into taking next steps, because that is the entrepreneurial mindset that I think the next generation needs. I love your statement. We need to create entrepreneurs instead of job seekers, because the jobs, you have to create your own job. I love it when people, knock on my door saying, I want to work with you. And then I just say, okay, let's talk. Instead of me applying for, and soliciting for people. I love that, because then I know there's motivation. So that is something that in the Jump Movement program is very highly developed, is the boldness and the entrepreneurial basis that you need is to just get out there and create your own direction and start moving and create your own movement. And that's very important. So yes, definitely in the whole development of students and worldwide, it's not only for Bangladesh, but it's also for corporate, employees. Same thing applies. You can work your hourly job, but you can also take the extra mile, and then you contribute to more. So I think that's cool for us to contribute to Bangladesh at this point. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think Honorable Vice-Chancellor, yeah.
Students, when they are seeking job, before that must assess their competency level. And we can also support them, we can also assist them in developing their competency level, the talent in which they are really good at. Because you will find it is differentially distributed. Some students have got special talent and knack for certain things. And if you can develop that further, they will become really successful in job seeking also as an entrepreneur. That is a possibility. Sometimes they don't know their real potential. And they are also and that's why the career council is very important. And before the career council, you need to have an aptitude assessment of these students. Unfortunately, that is missing at the university level. It might come in the kindergarten level and other level, but that is not in an institutional based. The aptitude aspect, it is not a certain. And then that's why what is happening, you cannot make a student more assertive when basically he's an introvert. And also somebody is more extrovert. The personality difference is already very much there. You can only simply change to some degree, but the real power will depend on a student who is a very extrovert one. If you can train him up to become more assertive and more focused on the goals that he has, then only then he will be succeeding in the job life or career.
True.
That is very important.
True.
So as a teacher, one has to also have the soft skill of psychological assessment to understand the attitude, talent, and the behavioral aspects of the students. But unfortunately, at the university level, that kind of interaction, intimacy, and deep learning understanding is not there.
Yeah. So that could be added, or we could add aspects of that to the student life and to the educational level. That could be very interesting.
We have to understand the student, his background, his socialization process, because basically I'm a sociologist, so I can understand society thinking process, whether it's urban and rural student, that will have a lot of difference in his performance, in his behavior, and in his interaction.
Yeah.
So that has to be taken into consideration.
Right.
Absolutely. Cool. Thank you, sir, for your thoughts. I'm actually running with my power bank with the light I'm using.
Don't tell me that you are running out of your time.
Right. So power bank with I've lightened my light. So because whole compound is out of electricity and internet, I'm using the phone. That's what disabled the difficulty. However, thank you.
You see, in management we say if anything can go wrong, it will always go wrong. And in Bangladesh, there is always a possibility that power will not be there.
Right. So thank you so much. I think if you want to add anything, we are happy to start this collaboration, this journey, and create a powerful graduates from your universities can learn from the industry, academic collaboration, and the international exposure and education. So that's what we want to contribute
That's
with your
perfectly
leadership.
all right. I think what we want, in Northern University, our chairman, Professor Y.M. Abdullah, Abu Yusuf Muhammad Abdullah, he himself is a big entrepreneur, the greatest entrepreneur in the real estate and other areas. He has already made his mark. But he's young, and also he has got this education. He is there with two universities, one medical college and also one college. So he's also running all these with a very specific way of goals, because he want to set up a kind of education complex where the contact between industry and university will be very, very compact and high. So he always supports any move to deal with the industries and to be with the industrial intermix. And we follow that particular suggestion, and we are open up for any kind of transaction and any kind of collaboration which will lead to mutually beneficial outcome. So that way, and definitely will be there. And the process, the ultimate goal is to create graduates who are highly accomplished, highly competent, industry ready, either for job, or they can set up their own enterprise where they can also employ hundreds of other job seekers. That is the ultimate goal. And also we want to emphasize on research bent for innovation, for creativity, and also for good level of publication from the university level at the student level. We are looking for word from our engineering department and also our computer science and engineering department, which are very, very strong, and our pharmacy department is also very strong, our textile department is also very strong, our business school is also strong, and our law school is also very strong. So all these different branches, faculties, they work together. But if we can create a common platform, as you said, where the soft skills will be trained, I think we'll welcome that in the future, possibly when we can change the curriculum. But ultimately, the modular approach for specific highly sought after skill will have to be accommodated in the university curriculum, and effort must be made in that direction only to create more competent people as a workforce and to accommodate the ambitions and careers of the young generation in Bangladesh, who are huge in number.
Huge, huh? Yeah. Very cool. I think you have a great vision on that. I think you have a very good vision on that. So I'm honored to at least contribute a little bit to that together with CKH Network. And yeah, I'm humbled to do that. So let's see where we can develop this, huh?
Thank you. Definitely. Why not sit down and work together and
Yeah.
let us examine each other's, protocol and try to find out how we can help each other in
Yes.
which area.
Yes.
Because ultimately, what we are looking towards is a Bangladesh where the young people are coming up. Because Bangladesh is going to be developed very soon under the able leadership of our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. And as you know, in our country, even despite the COVID, it is about 5.2% GDP that we have achieved last year. And this year's scenario is much better. And all our industries are working in full swing. Our export is also humming. Our ports are also vibrant, and our government are working and functioning online digitally. So this is a great occasion for us to celebrate the birth centenary of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and that's why we are bent upon to develop this country as has been dreamed by our father of the nation.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm back. Ineke, your closing remarks, please close it because I am absolutely in darkness.
No,
So
I
nothing
just
is-
I just close it feeling so humbled and honored by this very nice, inspiring conversation. And I think we have touched a common level of, wanting to contribute to the youth and development of young people and talent and have them live their talents to the max. So let's talk further and let's collaborate. I love it. So thank you so much for your time and inspiration, Professor. And thank you, Kamrul, again.
Your interaction with us had been a very intellectually stimulating one, and I enjoyed and got much more educated through your conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be with you and to speak with you. And
Thank you, Kamrul, for allowing me this privilege to interact with each other. Okay, in this platform. Thank you for inviting me.
bring this collaboration
It's almost
again.
We're over.
he's
Not yet.
almost dead.
Stomach up. Okay, Kamrul, no problem. We say goodbye and you. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam alaikum. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Okay.